Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Baking Queen and my kitchen. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're going to take a box mix of chocolate chip cookies, we're going to do some modifications, and we're going to make them a little bit better than just a regular chocolate chip cookie. So what you're going to need for this recipe is your favorite box recipe of chocolate chip cookies. I love Ghirardelli, they're amazing, they make awesome chocolate. They make these brownie and cookie mixes now, and they're delicious just on their own. So this is going to be amazing. Anyway, so get you a box mix. It doesn't matter what brand. They also do bag mixes. Some companies do bags and not boxes, but they will work just fine for this recipe and these modifications. So whatever you can find, whatever you like to use, will be perfectly fine. So this particular recipe, you're going to need an egg, and you're going to need a half cup of butter or 1 stick per the recipe. So follow that, whatever it says on the box. Now, you want to get regular butter, non-salted. It makes a world of difference. So if you're using margarine, if you have salted butter in your fridge, run out to the store and get you some unsalted butter. You will thank me later. That, and we're going to make brown butter out of it. So that makes a difference too. You're going to need you some pecans. Now if you like walnuts or any other type of nut, that'll work for this recipe too. I prefer pecans for this recipe just because I like the flavor it gives and works with everything. And you're going to need you some bourbon. Now you don't need this whole bottle. So if you have a little bottle, that'll work just fine. But this is what you're going to need for this recipe. So what are we making? We're making brown buttered bourbon pecan chocolate chip cookies. So we need to get started by browning our butter. So come on everybody. Okay everybody, so the first step we're going to do for our cookies is we have to brown our butter. Now, some of you have probably done this before. You may not know what brown butter is. Well, it's just that. So I have my saucepan here on the stove, and I have my temperature set to like a medium heat. Our recipe calls for a half cup of butter, which is 1 stick of unsalted butter. Now, unsalted butter, let's talk about this for just a minute. A lot of recipes call for unsalted butter if you're baking. Now, why does it call for unsalted butter? Unsalted butter is really good for baking because salt will break down your fats. So a salted butter is going to kind of deflate a lot of your recipes, whether it be cookies or cakes or pastries or whatever. So when you're baking, you want to keep unsalted butter on hand. That's going to be your best butter to use when you're baking anything or making any type of pastry product. You're going to get the better result. Now what I'm doing is I'm melting my butter in my saucepan on a medium heat, and what we're doing is we are browning our butter, but what we're actually doing is we're cooking the milk fats in our butter, and that's what's going to give us a brown butter look. Now it shouldn't be like a super dark brown color, but you will notice as you cook your butter, you will notice it turning a darker brown color. So we're going to continue to put this in here, let this melt down, and we're going to keep cooking it. Usually it doesn't take too long. You can turn the heat up on your butter. It'll melt it faster. It'll cook it faster. I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit though. I don't like doing a high heat because you don't want to burn your butter. And you can burn your butter. So you don't want that. So medium to slightly above medium heat is usually a good heat. Amount of heat to melt your butter down to get it to start cooking those milk solids that are in the butter, which is going to give you that browned butter. Also brown butter, a lot of bakers, pastry chefs do brown butter because it gives the butter a more like nutty flavor, and it elevates the flavor of your pastry. So any pastry you have that calls for butter, you could do a brown butter. It's an extra step, it's a little bit more time, but flavor-wise, I'm sure you'll be very satisfied with it. So my butter is melting down nicely. I just kind of keep giving it a stir just so that it doesn't sit on the bottom for too long and I don't have like a scorched or burned butter, because we definitely don't want that. We just want it, we want a nice browned butter. We want it to be nicely, the fats to be nicely cooked evenly, so that we get a nice nutty flavor texture to our butter. So we're going to do this, and once I get it to where I need it, I'll come back and show you guys. Alright, so it's only been a few minutes and my butter is now been browned. I've cooked the fats, the milk solids, the fats. I don't know if you can see that well, but it's definitely browned. So that's cooking the fats in the milk fats in your butter, and that's going to give our cookies a nice kind of nutty, richer flavor, if you will. So what I'm going to do now is I have this plastic container and I'm going to pour the butter in here. Okay. So I have this in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my butter in the refrigerator, and I'm going to bring it back to a solid state. And the reason why is I want a solid cold butter, not frozen and not rock hard, but a cold butter when making my cookies, and I will show you that and explain that in the next step. Alright everybody, so I have my mixing bowl set up. I got my bowl on my mixer, and I've got my attachment to the side. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take our box mix out of the box, and I'm going to dump the mix into my bowl. And the mix has pretty much everything in it. It's got the chocolate chips in there already. So all we have to do normally is add the butter and the egg. So I need my 1 egg, and I'm going to crack it right into my bowl. Very simple, very easy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown butter. Now this has been in the fridge overnight, so it's back to its solid state, and that's what you want. You want a cold, solid butter. You don't want it rock solid, so if you need to let it sit out for just a little bit, that's fine, but you don't want it like room temperature. You don't want it really soft and mushy, because that'll make you have a really flat cookie, and we want more of a nice kind of fluff cookie, like flat but fluffy, like a little bit of girth to it, if you will. So put my butter in with everything else. Okay. Oh, that's a little piece. There we go. Just throw that in there. You're going to use your beater attachment for your cookie mix, your batter, dough, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to pull that up just like that, and we're going to start mixing this. So this should beat together all your butter, your egg, like all that stuff should be mixing together really, really well. Now for the secret ingredients, this is where part of our kicking it up a little bit comes into play. Now our brown butter is going to do that too, but we also want our bourbon. So with the bourbon, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of bourbon for this recipe. Just throw that right in there. There you go. Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit so I can get everything beat, incorporated. Ooh, I can smell the bourbon, let me tell you. Now there's a lot of people that are like, you know, this is not a recipe for kids. There's not enough alcohol in here for it to be a problem. That and most of the alcohol will bake out when we put these in the oven. Now my dough is together, so I'm going to now add in my pecans that I have chopped, so we can get them mixed in there really good. Give them a quick mix. Okay, so now everything is mixed up in here really, really good. See if you can see that in there. So now we just gotta scoop and bake them. Alright, so now we're ready to scoop our cookies. I've laid out some of my baking sheets. I have some parchment paper, and I have a scooper. My scooper is probably about a 1 ounce, maybe 1.5 ounce size scoop. And these are wonderful, especially if you do cookies at home, because you can just scoop out your cookies, put them on your pan. It's easy peasy, trust me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop my cookie, a nice flush scoop, like so, in my scooper, and then you just plop it on your pan. It's that simple. Love these things. And you can get different sizes, so if you want a bigger cookie, if you want a smaller cookie, you can get whatever size you want. You can usually find them in most sections of stores that sell kitchen supplies. They have, I guess, a more professional scoop online under like baking and pastry tools, and they come in all kinds of sizes. Like, you can get a tiny, tiny, tiny little scoop, or if you just want like some teeny tiny little dainty cookies, or like a topping, or you really want to get fancy decorating things. And then they have the huge, huge, huge scoops. These are also good if you're doing cupcakes, to scoop out your cupcake mix into your cupcake tin. So here's my cookies. I'm going to kind of arrange them so they have a little bit more room when they spread. Make sure my paper is as flat as it can be. Alright, and so there's my cookies. They're all scooped. Whoops. They're all scooped. They're ready to go into the oven. So let's do that. Let's see, what did our directions say? Our directions, you follow directions on the box. We're doing, it says 2.5 inch cookies, so that's probably what we're going to get. So it's 8 to 10 minutes at 375. So let's do that, and I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Alright everybody, so our cookies have come out of the oven and they look amazing. I mean, look at these things. Like the color, just the texture, the height, everything just came out so good in these cookies. They smell amazing, and I know they're going to taste amazing. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a few tricks to kind of up your baking game. Even if you have a box mix, you can make some modifications. It's very easy. You can add things, whatever you want, to your own taste and liking, and you're going to have a really good dessert to present to your family, to your friends, co-workers, whoever. So that's it for now from your baking queen. Keep on baking. Hi everyone, your baking queen here again. This is a quick tip for something quick and easy you can do for a last minute dessert or treat that you just want to pop in the oven just for a little snack. So what I did is I got some pre-made cookie dough from the grocery store. This is Pillsbury brand. You can get whatever brand you want. Something's on sale, or you just like a different brand flavor better, that's fine. So I took my scoop, and I've already scooped some of my cookies, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to scoop out some more. And this is just so that they're all kind of the same size. And plop it on my thing. Now I bought some of these M&M mini baking bites. And all I'm going to do is take my cookie, kind of press it in just a little. So my cookie is covered and losing some pieces, but covered in my M&M pieces. So you're going to do that for each one. Just dip it and go. Dip it and go. Really easy. Of course, everybody loves M&Ms, so if you cover the cookie in M&Ms, these are going to be a hit with anybody. I mean, who doesn't love M&Ms, right? Alright, and then you just follow the directions on the package. So we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. So I'll see you back in about 12 to 15 minutes. Alright everybody, so this took about 14 minutes in the oven, but look at them. They came out very nice. A nice color, a nice texture, and you got those little extra M&Ms on there. And you can do this with just about any pre-made cookie dough mix that you find. You just add anything. You can add our M&Ms, you can add nuts, you can add sprinkles, just to give it that little extra something. So this is a quick tip from your baking queen. Keep on baking.